Hi, this is Matt Regier with my ePortfolio highlights video. I thought I'd start with my educational leadership philosophy. This was a good document for me to go through and really to reflect on the ways that I lead best and the ways that I've seen others lead best. And I settled on three main types of leadership that I thought fit me. The first was transformational leadership. I really feel that change is constant, especially in the educational world. And so leaders need to constantly be looking for ways to transform their organizations for the better, whether that's by transforming themselves or helping those around them to grow, or just looking for ways to do things more efficiently. I also felt that servant leadership was important. That's something that's been significant for me as a person of faith and as a husband, as a father, as a teacher. So that was one that I felt was significant. And then democratic leadership really reflects my practice in going through a school redesign project with my staff. That's something that I felt was important for our principal to do. He allowed the teachers to be the experts in the room and gave us a lot of voice in that. So democratic leadership is one that I've seen modeled and that has worked very well. The other pieces of information in my candidate info section, my artifact folder is here with all my activities and artifacts included. My goals video is here. This was another fun piece for me to go through to talk about some professional goals. I certainly do look forward to being a school administrator, but also some personal goals. Most of these centered on my family and wanting to spend a little bit more time with them, be able to invest in them even while I move into an administrative role. I'm not unaware that that will take significant time. Both my parents were school administrators, but that is something that I want to focus on so that I can have a good work-life balance and that I can model for my own children a way to do that in a healthy way. This also involves moving to a family farm and remodeling a farmhouse. That's something that my wife and I are really looking forward to and investing in our family in that way out in the country. My plan of study is here. This was both a blessing and a curse through Fort Hays. I was able to get through this program just starting in October of 2020. So I was able to move very quickly, and I actually have an administrative job for next year, which I'm excited about. And the speed of the program enabled me to do that. However, my artifacts were pretty limited because I completed this program in about 18 months. So that posed a challenge for me because I didn't have a lot of experiences to draw on just because I moved through it so quickly. But this is my plan of study, and then my resume, which is not from one of the templates, but it is what I used in order to procure my job. Moving on to activities. My annotated bibliography is here. This was something that I probably did not enter with the greatest mindset. It was kind of I felt like it was a chore. But as I went through this, I really found some value in reading the different articles and reflecting on them. And then the intentional summarizing, assessment, and reflection. That was a healthy process for me, and it was something that I think I can put into practice as a school administrator. Probably not writing 33 annotated bibliographies on any sort of a consistent basis, but doing some reading, summarizing that, sharing some things out with staff, whether that's to help improve teachers or help improve school culture, or just to educate myself on areas where I'm weak. My activity log form and spreadsheet are here. My component tracker, I did hit every component, and I'll go ahead and scroll through those. I had the 5 district activities, 7 elementary activities, and I believe I had 12 secondary activities to hit all of those components. My slideshows. I'll go through these, some quicker than others. My district activity artifact slideshow, school leader will analyze decisions in terms of ethical frameworks. I included the decision-making process infographic from EDL 852. I thought that was a good fit there. Developing school policies or procedures that cultivate equitable, inclusive, and culturally responsive practice among teachers and staff. I included a preventing special education teacher liability infographic. This was one of those projects that I felt could really easily translate to just about any staff teacher's lounge or be emailed out to a staff member. So I thought that was a valuable piece there. The school leader cultivates regular two-way communication with community members, partners, and constituencies. I've been over the last year, specifically in the fall before I started coaching this winter, doing a weekly calendar for our district that included all of our district activities and a calendar of when our wellness center was going to be open, which is located in our high school. This was a good way for me to communicate out, but I also got some communication back through Facebook messages and other social media accounts either with questions about the different events or with comments on ways that we could do that better, or some requests for different posts. So that was a good way for me to interact in a digital realm with different community members, and it reached a wide variety of stakeholders. For the school leader, analyze how law and policy are applied consistently, fairly, equitably, and ethically within a school. I used my special education disciplinary flowchart. This was a really interesting assignment to me. It was something that I had not experienced at all really before this module. So it was educational for me. It was definitely something that I think I can refer back to. And this was one of the things that was very new for me. So, and I certainly think it fits how law and policy are applied to allow those special education students to still have a free and appropriate public education. And then my final district artifact was providing actionable feedback to support teaching staff, and that is my KEEP evaluations. That was a great experience to actually be able to do an evaluation. That's not something we can very easily do within our own school buildings. So the opportunity to evaluate a new teacher was great. My elementary level artifacts are here. The first one here is an analysis of our elementary school mission and vision. And I'll give a little bit of explanation here. I've gotten a job as a middle school principal within my same district. So I've been included in the administrative meetings for the last month and a half here, which has really been an educational experience, and I've learned a lot already. But at one of these meetings, we watched a new hires video, but then a principal of a successful school video. And that one really centered around mission and vision and how that's put into practice. And I followed that up with a discussion with our elementary school principal about their mission and vision and what that looked like. And I was kind of puzzled to find that she really didn't have a good feel for what their mission and vision were actually. But she did know that they had their core values, which they call the big three, which is treat others right, make smart decisions, and maximize your potential. So that kind of functions as a mission and vision for their school, but we both agree that that probably needs to be given a bit more prominence so that teachers and so that students know what the mission and vision of the school are, even if they do incorporate those three things. For the school leader modeling ethical practice, I included the leadership and ethics video from EDL 852. That was an easy fit for me. For the school leader, will advocate for a supportive and inclusive culture. The People First video was one that made an impression on me. I've reflected on that several times with the way that I refer to people with disabilities and just in the way that I think of them. And I've certainly noticed some language deficiencies or things that I can help improve in others. And that's definitely a tone that I want to set in my own school building so that it is supportive and inclusive. The school leader will interpret data from formative and summative assessments for use in educational planning. We had a first grade teacher in our district that was kind enough to sit down with me and analyze some Ames Web data from some of our students. And that was a really interesting process for me. My son is actually in first grade, so this was highly relevant for me to see some of the data that he and his classmates are providing for their teachers and the way that they modify instruction. She spoke about their MTSS structures, the way that they support those students that need it, and the different benchmarks that they're looking for. So this was an informative process. It was good for me to see how our elementary teachers are using data, especially as someone who's only taught high school. This was a meeting where I learned a lot in just a couple of hours. For Standard 5, I've collaboratively engaged with diverse community members, partners, and other constituencies. I've led multiple basketball camps as our high school basketball coach. The top practice schedule you see there is a summer practice schedule for some students that decided to participate in a camp that I offered last summer. And then the picture on the bottom here is a free one-day camp for all of our students that participated in our Biddy Ball program last winter. And so in both of those scenarios, I've been able to interact with parents, with older siblings, and then with the younger students themselves that I probably didn't know in most cases before. And I've been able to engage with a variety of people through basketball and build some relationships, but also speak about some shared goals and the visions that we have for their students and for our basketball programs. For communicating policies, laws, regulations, and procedures to stakeholders, I chose the credit card management video from EDL 854. And for Standard 7, the school leader will evaluate applicant materials. I was able to be in on an interview for a 5/8 PE position. And I've done interviews before, but I've not done an interview for an elementary or a middle school position. And this kind of does a little bit of both, some elementary and middle school students that they'll work with. So that was a good process for me. I was able to interview with a different administrator, which was a new experience for me. And it allowed me to evaluate those applicant materials. Moving on to my secondary level artifact show, and this is where the bulk of my activities lie. Evaluating existing improvement processes. I chose IEP meetings. That's certainly an opportunity to evaluate those improvement processes. For modeling professional norms, I included a variety of different activities that I've been in on as a pseudo administrator in our building. I've done lunch coverage, I've done some disciplinary action, I've been in on a variety of interviews. And so I've had multiple opportunities to model those professional norms, both to our staff and to our students. For cultivating ethical behavior in others, I chose our basketball journal. As our high school basketball coach, I've included journaling questions in most of our practice plans for the last 2 years. That's at the very beginning of the day, and we sit down. We actually do a little bit of written journaling with a question of the day. Sometimes it's a quote, and sometimes it's basketball related, but oftentimes it's not. So that's a great opportunity for reflection. It's a good opportunity to build ethical behavior and character in young men, and it's something that I've really enjoyed as a coach over the last couple of years. For the school leader advocating for equitable access, I chose the FAPE at USD 206 infographic from EDL 853. For Standard 4, Component 4.1, I included a request from my co-teacher and I to change up our science curriculum. We found a new set of textbooks. We had to advocate for those to the board and to our curriculum coordinator, and that's been a great process for us. We've learned a lot as we've switched to a different curriculum that's a little bit more standards-based and more inquiry-based, and it's helped make us better teachers. For Component 4.2, I looked at my leadership as a passion project coordinator for our school redesign. And that really entailed leading the meeting for the committee on passion projects. That's something that we wanted our students to do over the course of the year. And then I've also led a full staff discussion at a staff meeting over that. I put 10 hours here because a variety of this has happened over time. We've kind of tried to tweak and improve that passion project process, and we've looked at some different resources as ways to improve it and for things that we can provide for our students. For Component 4.4, I chose my opportunity to co-teach with our life sciences teacher on our Integrated 1 and Integrated 2 science courses. We decided to do this to integrate the different varieties of science, and I really felt like that fit well with the improving coordination and coherence among the school's curriculum, instruction, and assessment practices. For Standard 5, Component 5.1, I included a couple of different small artifacts. It was a little hard to find an artifact for this. As our athletic director, I've attended a variety of events over the last 6 years, and at almost all of those, I've had the opportunity to engage students and engage their parents in different discussions. A lot of that has included conversations about ways that our school can improve, things that we're doing well. And so that's been an enjoyable experience, and it's been a way that I've learned a lot about our school, and both the things that we are doing well, but the things that we need to improve on as well. I also included a plan for identifying and accessing resources. I've worked with officials, I've worked with scheduling help for different events, and then I've done some fundraising as our athletic director, and you see some evidence of that here. I have developed a school's master schedule. I was able to do that in my new role as a middle school administrator. That was something that I worked on for next year. And then my athletic budget management helps to provide evidence that I'm evaluating resource needs. And then evaluating a school's professional staff capacity needs. Again, at an administrative meeting, I was able to reflect on the Kansas Educator Engagement and Retention Study, and also consider ways that we could fill some staff openings creatively or perhaps do things more efficiently. So I was able to evaluate professional staff capacity needs. I have modeled and fostered effective communication by leading coaches meetings and evaluations. And then I've also provided evidence that I can utilize digital technology in ethical and appropriate ways through my Why We Must All Become Digital Citizens video from EDL 852. Wrapping up here, my administrative verification document is here, and I've got the verifications, and then finally my program reflection is here. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it.